Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day. And today, the Washington Commanders stun the Detroit Lions. What a game. What a game. Look, I don't know. I don't want to say this because I know one of the games we have coming up tomorrow, and I know we're going to see either Patrick Mahomes go up against Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in the AFC Championship game. And I also know we could potentially see the Eagles go up against the Commanders in the NFC Championship game and what that could potentially be for the NFC Championship. But this might be one of the best games we see in the postseason. I don't know if it will be because tomorrow we got Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson going up against each other. Then next week we're going to either have Patrick Mahomes go up against Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes go up against Lamar Jackson. And then possibly next week, it'll be Jayden Daniels versus Jalen Hurts. And who knows what the Super Bowl will look like. So I don't know if I can say this will be the best game of the postseason, but this might be right. This might be the game. The Lions 15-2 at home, going up against the 6th seed, a team who was 4-13 last season, had a negative 189-point differential. Somehow Washington bounces back. Thank God to Jayden Daniels. They improved to 12-5. They go from 4-13 to 12-5. And even though the Commanders are a great team, the Lions are still expected to win. It's nothing against the Commanders. Jayden Daniels is a great quarterback. This Commanders team is a very, very good football team, and they showed it today. But the Lions are still expected to win because on paper, statistically, I'm talking about all around. We're not comparing quarterbacks. We're not comparing a specific position. We're just talking about all around. The Lions have the better team. But, and we're talking about talent of one player, specifically the quarterback position. It's obviously the Washington Commanders of Jayden Daniels, and sometimes that's going to be the most important thing of a football game. And look, we can talk about how the Lions are banged up, right? Lions got injuries. Meek Robertson got hurt in this game, broke his arm. Lions had players injured before this. Montgomery's not 100%. We can talk about the injuries. But at the same time, the Lions that were out on the field tonight, it's still an even football game if you ask me. Like the injuries, we can talk about the injuries, like I said, but it's not going to go anywhere. Like Washington had a rookie quarterback. I mean, like, did you see the way that Detroit crowd was when the game started and you see Tom Brady and KB and they're starting they're starting the game, doing the introduction to the game. You see how that crowd is going nuts and just it looks like the crowd is shaking. And a rookie quarterback went into that stadium and did what he did today. 22 for 31, 299 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Did he have a rushing yard touch? No. It was Jeremy McNichols. But was also good on the rushing end as well and was key when it mattered. Jayden Daniels went to the Detroit Lions team today and did exactly they beat them at their own game. And you know what that is? It's going for it on 4th down. And I said it in my predictions. Look, I'm going to be honest. I picked the Lions to win this game. But I feel like that's a lot of people. But what I did say, I said the Commanders are going to be aggressive. The Commanders, number one, they don't have a great kicker. So that's one reason to not want to kick field goals. But the Commanders are also aggressive. And if you're going to beat a team that has to go for it on 4th down, you're going to have to go for it on 4th down as well. And the Lions actually didn't go for it as much on 4th down tonight as they usually do. They did at the end of the game because they had to, but outside of that, there wasn't a lot of 4th down attempts today for the Detroit Lions. And so that was interesting. And the Commanders, every chance they got, they went for it on 4th down. The only time they didn't go for it on 4th down today was when, at the end of the game, 45-31 brought out their kicker to try to make it a 3-score game. And it showed us all at the end of this game that, hey, all the 4th downs you wondered, hey, maybe it's time you bring out the kicker, put 3 points on the board. build the lead. Don't go for the fourth down. Kick the field goal. Every time I potentially wondered maybe kicking the field goal would be the best idea. And then their kicker, if correct me if I'm wrong, Zane Gonzalez is what I was going to say. Zane Gonzalez goes out there and misses the kick. It's like, okay, maybe going for it on fourth down every chance you get was not such a terrible idea after all. But you got to beat, if you're going to beat a talented team that is crazy on going for it on fourth down, beat them at their own game. And that's what Washington did tonight. So this is a shocker, but it's not that much of a surprise if you knew what Washington was going to do, what they did with being aggressive on fourth down. Like that's the key to beating this Detroit Lions team. It's also like another key is for beating this Detroit team is controlling possession. And that's what you're doing when you're going for fourth down. You're going for it on fourth down. You're controlling possession. You're keeping the football away from the Detroit Lions offense. And sure, the offense I don't think was very good tonight. 3 interceptions for Goff. Let's not count the last one. It was a desperation throw. They're down 14. But 2 interceptions for Goff outside of the last one. Stupid interception by Jameson Williams. I know they have some crazy play calls. I don't know why they did that at all. So yes, there were some turnovers. Goff had a key fumble at the end of at the beginning of the game, first half. So there were the turnovers that really hurt the Lions. Maybe if those turnovers don't happen, we could be talking about how Detroit's going back to back NFC Championship games, very likely. But those turnovers did happen, and so yeah. But anyways. Let's go over the scoring summary because this was an amazing game. I mean, there were more. I believe there were just about the same, if not maybe more, yards between both teams, the Commanders and the Lions, in the first half of this ball game. I think there was more yards than there was in the Texans Chiefs. The Texans had like 350 yards, but had 100 more yards than the Chiefs did in the game, and still lost, which is crazy as a Texans fan. But both at halftime, both teams had 300 yards of offense. So there was more yards in this first half than there was in the first game. That's how it shows. That's what shows you it was such a crazy game. But first quarter, Lions took the lead. It was 7-0. We see Jahmyr Gibbs with a 1-yard touchdown run, 7-0. And then Zane Gonzalez knocks in a 47-yard kick. And that was really the only thing Zane Gonzalez did tonight outside of making extra points. And it was 7-3. And then Brian Robinson runs it in to start off an amazing second quarter, which will probably be the best second quarter best second quarter football we see all season. There's 42 points scored in the second quarter. Brian Robinson has a 2-yard rushing touchdown to make it 10-7. Sam Laporta has a 2-yard touchdown reception from Jared Goff to make it 14-10 to give the Lions back the lead. What a catch by Sam Laporta. Amazing. But then we see Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin connect. Amazing catch and run by Terry McLaurin. It's 17-14. At this point, you're like, it's going back and forth. This that might be the intensity of this game is back and forth, back and forth. Lions are going to go back and maybe take the lead back. And that's when it kind of all changes, is when Jared Goff throws the interception to Quan Martin, and he returns it for 40 yards, and all of a sudden, Commanders are up 2 scores. And after that, Washington never looked back. Jameson Williams had an amazing 61-yard touchdown run, which was insane, and that made it a 3-point game. And then Jay Daniels threw a 5-yard touchdown pass to Zach Ertz. And it's you get the confidence back to get it back to a 1-score game, but then Washington comes right back, and it's a 2-score game again. And Detroit tried to capitalize and get a field goal. Goff threw a pick. Then going to the third quarter, I think this really hurts because knowing that if you would have got the field goal at half, would have been a 7-point game, and then the third quarter, the only score was a Lions touchdown. It would have been tied going into the fourth quarter if Goff doesn't throw a pick and they don't get intercepted. But that didn't happen. Third quarter, only score. kind of a letdown. 42 points in the third quarter, and we only had one score. Jahmyr Gibbs, 8-yard touchdown on 31-28. And then, like I said, the Lions get a score, bring it back to one score. You feel like maybe you can get some stops. Nope. 8-minute drive. That's what I'm talking about, the long drives. Sure, there were some very short drives to this Commanders team today. They had a couple really, really short drives. The McLaurin touchdown was 1 minute 21 seconds. The Zach Ertz touchdown was 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But it's a drive like this that lasts 8 minutes and 28 seconds, and you capitalize with a Brian Robinson 1-yard touchdown run, and it's 38-28. Then this was really the seal the deal moment here. Jeremy McNichols with a 1-yard touchdown run to make it 45-28. With 5 minutes remaining, Jake Bates makes a 20-yard field goal. This was kind of a good decision by the Lions here. Fourth down and long. You don't want to go for it on fourth down and long because at some point they were going to need a field goal. You need 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Might as well get the field goal out of the way. But that was it for the Lions season, and that's really tough to end it that way when you have a 15-2 season and lose to a team that was 4-13 last year and had a rookie quarterback coming in. But it shows how poised Jayden Daniels is. This guy, I feel like he can go and play and win anywhere at this point. Really. At this point, I think he's shown he can do anything. Right? I mean, he won a game in Philadelphia. The only time I've really doubted Jayden Daniels was going up against Philadelphia. Because earlier this year, Jayden Daniels, really the only game that Jayden Daniels kind of looked really bad, didn't look like that good of a quarterback, at least what I've seen. The only game where I didn't think he looked that good at all was the first game he played Philadelphia. It looked like this defense, they got him figured out. They know what to do with him. And then going into the second matchup against him, I'm like, is this the one defense, which is such a good defense that can potentially have a plan for Jayden Daniels? And then he goes absolute nuclear and has maybe the best game he had all season. So at this point, I feel like this kid can beat anybody, and he's such a talented quarterback. So yeah, let's go over some game leaders real quick. Jayden Daniels threw 22 for 31 with 299 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Goff threw for 313 passing yards, 23 for 40 with a passing touchdown and 3 interceptions. Brian Robinson ran for 77 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Gibbs was great, 14 carries, 105 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And Dyami Brown had 6 receptions for 98 receptions. How about this? Both of the receiving yard leaders have the last name Brown. Not related. Amon-Ra St. Brown with 8 receptions for 137 receiving yards. All right, and he was great too. Gibbs, not surprising, was the second leader in receiving yards with 70. Jameson Williams disappeared in this game. That's really unfortunate. I think you needed him to be big in this game in order to win. He only had 19 receiving yards and 1 catch, was targeted 4 times, threw a pick for crying out loud. Man, Sam Laporta had 6 receptions for 51 receiving yards and a touchdown. McLaurin had 4 with 87 for a touchdown. Eckler had 4 and 41. Ertz had 5 catches, 28 yards and a touchdown. Jamison Crowder had 2 receptions for 25 receiving yards. And John Bates had a 20-yard catch. Fumbles, Goff lost a fumble that was recovered by Frankie Lavu. That was huge. Dyami Brown fumbled, but it went out of bounds and didn't do anything. Defensive stats, Jeremy Chen, 12 tackles and 2 sacks for the Commanders, both for Dorrance Armstrong, former Cowboy. And then no sacks for the Lions, 6 tackles for loss. The interceptions, Jeremy Chen had an interception, and he returned it for 7 yards. I already talked about the pick 6 for Quan Martin. And how about this? 2 interceptions for Mike Sanderstel. He had 2 interceptions, returned for 22 yards. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section. Sorry about the raspy throat. I'm recovering from a very bad cold, and the nights are kind of tough, but I wanted to talk about this amazing game that we witnessed tonight. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section, and peace out.